Hi, it's Jennifer, and welcome to the Brewmaster course. Not really, but I did think it would be fun to brew the same exact coffee three different ways to highlight how brewing methods can really impact flavor. So we'll be tasting a pour over, or I'll be tasting a pour over. We'll do espresso, and then I have cold brew here as well. So again, use the same coffee, brew it three different ways. I think this is actually a really cute way to have people participate. Let's say you're having a little get together and you want to showcase something other than wine. This is really neat because most people don't actually know that if you brew the same coffee differently, it'll actually highlight different flavor notes in the coffee itself. So let's get started. I waited until I was with you to start brewing my pour over, and I do have steps on my website as to how do you actually perform a pour over. So first and foremost, you want to start out with the right weight. I have 26 grams of Colombian coffee. You also need a timer. I like to use a gooseneck kettle. You don't have to. You can really use anything that's going to pour hot water in a way that you don't burn yourself. And for the 26 grams of coffee, now that's if you like it strong. If it's a single origin, which this Colombian is, but I like the heavier body. But let's say it was the pink bourbon. You could use 21 grams of coffee when using a lighter roast single origin. All right, back to my pour over, 26 grams, and I'm going to be using 250 grams of water for this pour over. And all in all, it takes about 2 minutes, give or take. So we're going to start the bloom. So I'm going to go ahead and start my timer. And I'm going to try that one more time. Hey, look, it worked. And then I'm going to add my water. Now, with the bloom, you're not actually saturating everything. You're really just making sure that you cover the top of the coffee so that all of the grounds are wet so that it can release the gas. So while we're waiting until 40, I wanted to show you the difference in grind. So I don't know that you can really see that, but this is like sand. So if you've been to the beach, that's kind of the grind you're looking for with a pour over. And I wish I could show you. It looked like it bloomed into a mushroom in the cup here. So now I'm going to go ahead and add another 40 and we'll let that get started. So with the espresso, obviously using an espresso machine, and mine luckily grinds it for me, but espresso grind is very different. It is a very, very fine powder. Honestly, add some water to that, and there you have a paint. You can watercolor with espresso. Did you know there's actually that happening? Coffee art. Maybe another video we can do that together, but not this one. And then I have my cold brew. So this has been brewing, if you will, for about 12 hours. So made it yesterday and then it's ready to use today. Usually between 12 to 14 hours suffices. And this is a 1-to-8 ratio, depending on what you're using. You can use, a cold brewer, you could use a mason jar and a filter. Really, cold brews are super easy. And the grind on a cold brew is very coarse. So, I don't know if you can tell, but out of the three, this is definitely the one that is more like really tiny pebbles of, I don't know, crushed gravel. It's definitely not sand. Even if it looks like it to you at home. All right, stop talking, Jennifer, and pay attention to your pour over. Correct. So I'm adding almost 100 grams now to it, and I'm performing the swirling method again to make sure that my grounds saturate evenly. So, why do pour overs typically use that conical shaped filter? Well, did you know that for your lighter roasts or roasts that you really want to highlight the floral notes or the citrus, that your pour over with the conical is actually the best way to brew those because it retains the citrus forward note. It will highlight those lighter flavors, and the body is more of like a, I wouldn't say tea like consistency, but it's definitely not heavy. All right, we're almost there and going to do the rest of my pour here. Okay, so, what if you had a bolder coffee? Let's say, that you were using a dark roast. Well, then I would actually recommend that you use a flat bottom filter. And that's because that will really highlight those bolder notes. Like, let's think chocolate. And it then allows for a more consistent body, or what am I trying? Balanced. It's a balanced body. So, that's when I would use a flat bottom filter. Let's go ahead and brew our espresso with the push of a button. How easy is that? And while that's going ahead and pulling, I'm going to pour, and I even used a cute straw for you guys, a little cherry. All right. So, like a wine tasting, I'm not actually going to drink everything. I'm really just going to taste it and share with you what different notes come to the fore. Where is it hitting in your palate with these different, again, brewing methods. All right. And my espresso with a nice head on it. Look at that. Almost looks like a beer. All right. So this is about done. I'm all right. Moving that over. Perfect. So let's just take a look at the difference in color. That's why I like to use clear glasses. So this one, pretty dark, no head on it. This one, even darker, and it's got that lovely crema on top. That is really why espresso is my all-time favorite beverage, because you get that boldness, but you really do get the sweet notes from the crema. I digress. And then your cold brew, much lighter. Now, you can build a concentrate where you dilute it, to your liking, which is kind of what I did here. And then you can add water or drink it as is. Again, whatever you like. It's your palate. All right. So let's go ahead and taste this and experience what does the Columbia do with the different brewing methods. That's nice. So that's very balanced in my opinion. It's hitting the middle of my palate, and I'm getting the notes of chocolate. There's a little bit of sweetness there, but overall it's just a really nice mouthfeel. This is something that you could serve every day, and I think it would appeal to everyone. All right, my espresso. I'll try not to be biased, but right away, when you smell it, you can smell the honeysuckle, which I think is so neat. Whereas this one, I'm not getting as many floral notes. So the big difference there is right when I pull it to my nose, I'm smelling the difference. Very different. So right away, the acidity is front and forward. It's hitting the tip of my tongue, so it's the front of the palate. And first, you get that bright sensation, those bright notes, and then it mellows and lingers on the tongue where you'll start to pick up more of that chocolatey flavor. So, in terms of mouth play, this one is definitely going to do more for the palate than this one. Easy drink. This one's a little bit more exciting. Depends on what you're in the mood for. All right, last but not least, our cold brew. That's really nice. So, very different than all of them. It definitely hits different. It's more of a coating of the tongue and not really finding its way to a specific area of the mouth, where these two definitely hit differently on the palate. This one's definitely more round, coating the entire mouth and very smooth. Like, oh my goodness, so nice. But you still get the notes of chocolate, but by far out of all of them, this one's Mr. Mellow. She likes to be the party. He likes to be emo, hang out in the corner, but if you chat with him, very, very interesting. So that's how the brewing technique or the brewing method really plays differently on the very same bean. I find it fascinating. I think it's so fun to do. I hope that you try this. Let me know what you try, what you think, but it's really cool. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. I'm not going to drink all of these. I will be over caffeinated, but I will enjoy my favorite. And I will see you guys here next time. Bye.